I don't know if I'm ready to do this. I don't know if
Adrian
I'm
Westphal
qualified to
from
do
that
this.
team. Oh, shut
Hey,
the fuck
everybody.
up.
Welcome to
Do
the
it.
Big Fellas. Oh, what's up? You fucked it up. It wasn't me. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Big Fellas Podcast. I am Mike Pridgeon. I lost 110 pounds, but I'm most proud of keeping it off, and this guy's got a similar story.
I also lost 110 pounds. This is episode 6, I believe, of our podcast. We've had a lot of really great reception, and we're going to switch things up a little bit this week because we're going to actually start with questions. We have a couple picked out from the YouTube channel. There's a specific question that one of Mike's clients wanted to talk about today. We're going to have a couple things that tie in with some of my clients as well. Common talking points that need to be addressed. So Astro in the chat on Instagram, what are we talking about today? Not going to spoil it, but at the same time, we're talking about bullshit and how to identify it and how to talk to other people about what's bullshit and what's not. So, Mike, why don't you drop your question that you had from your client?
So the question, I just want to give a shout out to my client. I'm not going to name you, but one of my clients was nervous about telling their family that they're working with me. Not because they are embarrassed of talking to me, which is fantastic, because usually people are, but because they don't want to they've got kids and they don't want to instill like bad thoughts into their kids about eating or
Diet
weight
culture.
or anything like that. Diet culture. But as you guys know, me and Noah, we don't instill toxic diet culture tenets. We are all about sustainability and kindness and going slow, and there's nothing wrong with that. But the negative connotation that is attached to the result of what we do, I think, is kind of the holdup. So how is it that you could communicate that to your family in a way that separates it from everything else, like all the Weight Watchers and the ketos and all that kind of stuff that is very predatory and awful, in my opinion?
Also mine. I
Very
think
strong
something.
opinion.
Yeah, well, we spend a lot of time shitting on them. Anyway, one thing that I think is good for when we talking about weight loss to other people, and when we're fresh in a journey, whether we're at the beginning, middle, or end quotation marks, when other people approach us, family members, maybe they come with concern like, hey, I've noticed you're really skinny now, I've noticed you lost a lot of weight, I just want to check in, make sure you're doing it in a healthy way. It happens to most people if you have friends or family that care about you. One action that I always typically like to do within myself and recommend to other people, and there's 2 reasons behind it. Number 1, kind of try to keep it to yourself the best you can. Now, if they really are pressing you, answering that question however you need to answer that is completely fine. But at the same time, keeping most of what you're doing to yourself and just reassuring them, like, I'm doing it in a safe way, I'm doing it correctly, I'm taking my own pace, I'm not really looking for any outside, like I'm doing it my way and it's working for me. And if you say that, that provides the reassurance that people need to make sure that you're okay, but also it doesn't create any false sense of productivity within yourself, because a huge part of weight loss is keeping yourself accountable and showing up and actually doing the work. We know that. But what I mean by this is, if you talk too much about what you're going to do, you're going to start feeling like you've already done it. It's that false sense of accountability. It's like, yeah, Mike and I are gonna launch a group coaching. We haven't yet. So that doesn't mean shit. That sentence has no validity because we have not launched it yet. So that doesn't exist. So I should not get any ego boost from talking about what we're gonna do. Do it first, talk about it later.
What you were just talking about brings up sort of an interesting point for me, and that is when you're telling people in your life that what you're doing is good and I've got a handle on it and everything is fine. Some people will say that about unsustainable means of going about this as well. So I guess maybe what I'm asking is, like, what's the difference? How can we discern regular concern from just people being up our butts about stuff?
One of my favorite quotes of all time, and this can apply to any facet of life: you're never going to be put down by somebody doing better than you. So if somebody is in a better health state, financial state, career state, whatever you guys are talking about or measuring, if you sense that they're trying to poke any insecurities, or you sense that they are insecure themselves, that means they're probably not doing as good as you are. Now, I have a very stoic response to most of those things. I'm only going to worry about my response to the situation. I really could not care less what they think. But it's much easier said than done. And that's also something that I've had to train myself for years to do. And I'm not perfect on that sense in the slightest. And it can get under your skin. At the end of the day, it kind of just goes back to what I said earlier. Their opinions, their questions mean absolutely fucking nothing, especially when it comes to your journey. Their opinions do not fucking matter. Now, there is some validity in who you listen to when it comes to advice, and we're going to talk a lot about that today on how to discern good information from poor information, because unfortunately, there's a fuckload of poor information, especially around weight loss in the internet. But dude, I see like 3 or 4 of my clients popping in here. What's good, guys? But yeah, that's the big thing. If they're asking questions, reveal as much as you want. You don't owe them an explanation. You don't owe anybody shit. Remember that. You don't need to earn respect from them. You don't owe them an explanation. That's what I'm trying to. You don't owe anybody an explanation. So you guys can reveal or talk about it as much as you want to. At the end of the day, it's about your actions, not your words. It's about not listening to their words.
I've got somebody in my Discord group who just sent out a message yesterday. He's done incredibly well for himself. He's at the end of his weight loss journey now. He's a personal trainer, so he's more qualified to be talking about any of this than I am. But he was saying that he's got family members that will tell him, like, oh, if you lose any more weight, you'll blow away, like that kind of thing. And he was saying, well, I know they mean well. And I had responded, don't ever assume that they mean well. Just don't. If they're telling you you're going to blow away if you lose too much weight, blow the fuck away. Blow out of their lives. That's it. Like, that's the way that I look at it, to be honest. If people are going to give those snide remarks to you, you don't need to hear them. Until they can respect you, you have to set that boundary down. I've got a very hard line on commenting on people's bodies. If it's a position where you see someone struggling, like, it's an anorexia thing, or something where someone really, because he's not unhealthy in any capacity. He's doing well. He goes to the gym. He eats well. He's not in eating disorder territory. So these are superficial remarks, all of them. It's not coming from concern. It's just people saying stuff because they're filling dead space. There's no room for that ever. There's not. I don't know if you would agree with me there, but I just don't think that there's any room to comment on someone's body in that way.
Absolutely. I think it's really depending on where it's coming from as the actual, and what I mean by that is like the actual person. Like, what's your relationship with that person? Like, if it's like a fucking colleague that you're not that close with at work, yeah, tune that out. But if it's somebody that you love, like a parent or a friend or a family member or a sibling, that's a little different. I think a lot of that comes from just general, because most people just have like normal diet culture mindset on things. A lot of it comes from, and that's another thing, some people are just really misinformed. And that's another thing we need to talk about today is navigating misinformation when people think they know what they're talking about, but they actually don't, or think people are trying to help, but they realize they're not, or they don't realize they're not. And I think that's where a lot of, like, my mom would say stuff, my sister would say stuff every once in a while, talking about how skinny I looked, blah, 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 blah. Never mean. I knew every single time either of them said it, it was coming from a pure place of making sure that I wasn't taking it too far, because they've seen me take it too far. So those comments had true validity and care behind them. And I know they did. And so that's a moment where you have to, it's different because it's commenting on how skinny I am after I've lost the weight, and maybe I don't like being called skinny, which I don't necessarily do. But I know at the end of the day, it's coming from a place of care. You have to try to look past the words and look towards the intention. What are they trying to get out of what they're saying to you? That's where it comes down to. That's the ultimate, honestly, the best way to kind of really think, like when you're deciphering information on the internet too, when you're getting facts or whatever. Look at what their actual intentions are. If somebody is trying, like Mike and I both have spoken on this a bazillion times. Look at what their true intentions are. Like, what are they actually trying to accomplish by telling you this? Is it true? Is it false? Are you not sure? Are they actually informed? And are they, the big one on the internet, the fifth one, are they trying to sell you something?
As soon as they're trying to sell you a supplement, everything they say beyond that is complete garbage. Tune out, block them. Everything they're going to say is in service of selling you that supplement. That's it. That's all it is. Especially with keto, like the people that are trying to sell keto, it's all just to try to funnel you into an electrolyte supplement. Same thing with the Unicity people. I don't mind naming them. I'm just going to tell you what they do. They sell you a product. Everything that they do is in service of selling you that product. They show you the fat insulin model. They show you blood glucose spikes. Newsflash, if you eat anything, your blood glucose spikes. If you eat protein, you have a blood glucose spike. If you were to have one of those monitors, because some people are putting the monitors on now to see what happens when they eat something. If you eat something, it goes up. Doesn't matter what it is. If you wanted to stop blood glucose spikes, you have to stop eating. And then as soon as you eat something again, it's going to go up. Like it's normal. That happens. The supplements aren't going to do anything. If someone's selling you a supplement, ignore them.
The only supplement that should be regarded to the blood glucose thing is literal insulin for literal diabetics. That's what insulin does.
Yeah.
You eat, blood sugar spikes, also known as blood glucose. Insulin comes in, lowers it back down to equilibrium. That's insulin's job. If you are bad at producing insulin from one reason or another, type 1 or type 2, that's the only thing that you need to be prescribed for. Do not fucking worry about it. If you can produce insulin normally, don't have to worry about your blood glucose. Simple as that.
I do have a weight loss supplement that is incredibly effective. You can lose hundreds of pounds almost instantly. Right here? Right here. There you go. And the person who's talking to you, who's in front of you, they'll fuck right off, and you won't have to hear them anymore.
Man, we're really getting aggressive today, aren't we?
I'm feeling a little ornery today.
Yeah, you want
on
the
Big
spicy.
Fellas podcast.
Yeah,
the Angry
he
Fellas
was
podcast.
He was feeling a little spicy on our call earlier because Mike and I always work on some other things before we hop on. So he and I have already been yapping for like 3 hours. Now I got people flipping us off in the chat. That's what I love to see.
Oh, do we? Oh, that's fantastic. You know what? Let's get a baseline here. Let's talk about what healthy fat loss looks like. You know, because I think a lot of people get worried because of the negative connotations of losing weight. We tend to take on some unsustainable means to get there. What does it look like when it's working in the way that it's supposed to? When should people not be worried?
I'm just going to speak on a normal day in the trenches. I'm not going to talk about the entire setup. That would take an entire 14 episode. I mean, we talk about it every single time we make a video, essentially.
Or a 16-unit module.
All right. Yeah. Anyway, but no, let's just say like, what's a normal day in the life of a sustainable weight loss journey look like? It's pretty fucking boring. It's pretty normal. The big thing is when people are big and bombastic in their claims that they're making, and they're saying that you need to transform your entire lifestyle, blah, 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 blah. Real weight loss, people that have actually done it, yeah, they made changes. Yes, we made sacrifices, but at the same time, we found a rhythm. We lived our normal lives. We were just losing weight in the background. We just made tiny changes into our lifestyle. Think of it as like, I'm trying to find a good analogy for this, but you have this beautiful lifestyle you were living beforehand. We want your weight loss lifestyle to look as close to this lifestyle as possible. Okay? We want this to look as close to this as we physically can. We want our mindset to change. We do want change within this. But if you are working, let's say you're working night shift at the hospital. You're working 12-hour shifts, 4 nights a week. You've gotten your system down, used to your lifestyle, but you're unhealthy with your weight. I'm not going to put you telling you to work out at 3 p.m. right before you go into your shift and completely change every single thing that you eat because you're not living the lifestyle you're used to. It's about taking where you're at and making small changes to get there. So anybody that's trying to sell you, anybody that's on the internet saying you need to completely transform your entire life, follow my meal plan, follow my this, that, or the other, you are literally taking everything that you like about your life and throwing it out the fucking window and just blindly copying what the other person is doing. Do you really see that working out for yourself? No, you don't. And you know deep down it's not going to work. You know deep down you're not sticking to that. And that's another thing. Sorry, last thing, and I'll give it to you, I promise.
Take it.
If you can't see yourself doing it for the rest of your life, you shouldn't do it at all.
That's the way it is. If you're trying to cut out carbs and you think that you're never going to have carbs again, 1, you're wrong. And 2, if you're right, that's a terrible life, I think, to never go back. Like, even if you're a diabetic, you need carbs. You don't get away from that. Like, you still need them. We just need to be a little more careful on what kind and how much. That all being said, this is a self-improvement journey. You are improving. And Improvement is not subtraction, it is addition. You need to add things into your life that are benefiting you to get to the desired result. You can't subtract until you get the thing that you want, because the thing that you want, you don't have yet. So how are you going to get to that thing by removing things? You need to add things that feel good, that you like to do.
This is really replicated in Mike and I's philosophy when it comes to coaching. Both of us take a very unique approach. With most coaches, it's, hey, welcome to the program. Start tracking your calories. What does that create? A restriction mindset day one. I can speak on both of Mike and I's behalf. We never put people on calorie tracking until like a month or two in, depending on the person. Everybody's a little different.
Mm-hmm.
But we take time to, first of all, evaluate the issues that are at hand, and two, add something to their lifestyle as opposed to taking away. And that's something we need to do when we're identifying good, bad, and the ugly on the marketing side of things as well. If a coach or a company or whatever may have you is guilting you on how you're living your lifestyle, that's an issue. If somebody's main marketing ploy is telling you how wrong you've been doing it and how they are the only solution, block them. If they are guilting you and telling you how you've lived your life is incorrect, that should say everything you need to know about who that person is and where their values are.
We can't operate on fear. I will never try to sell anything on fear. I will never try to peddle fear. It's not an effective fuel source. It burns quick and dirty. And a lot of you have gone into it in fear because it's very easy to be sold on what could be taken away, what you could lose. It's a little bit harder of a sell to tell you that this isn't going to be a sexy process. It's going to be slow, but you're going to get out of it. It's much easier to tell you that you can lose 20 pounds in 20 days and all you have to do is cut everything out that you enjoy and work really hard to get there and take the supplement and stop eating. I don't want you to lose scale weight. My clients don't lose much weight with me. We don't work together forever. I take people on for 10 weeks because I want to feel like we're working towards something. I don't want to trap them into a long-term thing. They will not see most of their results with me. They will see it far off. And yes, Widow Kitty.
Sorry.
Unfortunately, she has not graced us with her presence, but maybe she'll come back.
She just jumped out.
But yeah, my goal with my clients is to get a text from them a year from now when I've taken on a whole bunch of other people in the time being. And then I see the name pop up. I'm like, oh, yeah. You. And then they're like, look at me. Look at this. I've lost 60 pounds in the time that we've been apart because you taught me everything I needed. And I haven't had to pay for shit since then because I'm out. And I've got a healthy mindset about this thing. I just had a birthday party with a real cake, not any of that BS. Like they've got a Halo Top mix that's not very good.
Have you tried that? I've never tried that.
Don't try the Halo Top brownies. They taste good. The problem is you will have the worst shits of your life because it is full of dietary fiber and erythritol, and it's just basically a pan full of laxatives. Because you can eat the whole pan, especially if you were to not use the oil and you use Greek yogurt like I did. You can eat the whole thing for like 500-600 calories, which is what I did. Who's to say what would happen if I had a regular amount of brownies that night? But I did not have a regular amount of brownies.
Insert sparkly text. Moderation.
Moderation. It can still backfire, and it did. But yeah, I don't remember what I was saying about my clients, but the idea is like, I don't want you reliant on me. The thing that me and Noah are building right now, we want you to just want to hang out. We don't want you to need us. So we're building resources to keep you around that will benefit you going forward. Not that you need them, it's that you want them. It can't be compulsory.
Another huge identifier, by the way, in how people market good, bad, and ugly. What end goal are they selling? What end goal is there? Like, are they saying 6-pack in 6 weeks? Hey, there's a fucking time frame on that shit. Get out. There's a short-term time frame. Get out. If they're saying 6 months to a year, that's a little bit better. I've said 6 months to a year because that's how long I work with people. 6 months to a year. Mike and I have slightly different approaches. I'm more so habit building over the long term. Mike is transform your mindset in a shorter period and set you off. But either way, we have the same mindset. Work with us for a short amount of time relative to your entire life, very short amount of time. Solve the forever problem. Learn for a little while, solve the rest. It's like learn how to ride a bike for a couple weeks with your dad in the front yard. Always know how to ride a bike for the rest of your fucking life. That's exactly what we're trying to do here. We're trying to teach you to break off the training wheels and ride the bike by yourself so you can ride away from us and never see us again. Now, obviously, we want to stick you around. We want you guys to participate in the podcast, ask questions, hang out with the community, all that other shit. But we don't want you to need us. And that's a huge part of when you're listening to other people trying to sell you on my least favorite place on the planet, TikTok Shop. Look at the results that they're promising and look at the time frames that they're promising them within. Not like delivery time for a fucking whatever. I'm saying, what is the end goal they're trying to sell you on? What is the transformation they're trying to sell you on? Because I talk about this a ton with almost every single client I have, especially when they're first getting started. There's a huge phenomenon that is never talked about in the fitness industry, and it's called results farming. And I think I might make a one-off YouTube video about this in the future. It's one of the darkest parts of fitness. It's called results farming, and Mike and I have both personally saved people from this situation. Results farming is when Jim Bob hires Steve as a coach. Jim Bob wants results like the results Mike and I get for our clients. Steve says, yeah, I got you. I'll make it all good for you. Then Steve puts Jim Bob on a 6-week, overly restrictive, extremely hellish meal plan. Jim Bob loses 25 pounds in 6 weeks and looks better outside, but inside wants to fucking cry and knows for a fact he is a sniff of brownies away from a full-blown binge. He is one invitation to a night out to an absolute fucking heinous, just war crime level binge. Now, Stevie doesn't care. Steve is going to get the progress pics and say, goodbye, I'll see you later. We accomplished our goal. What happens to Jim Bob in 6 months? He's going to gain all the weight back. He wasted all of his money. And now he's back to square one, feeling guilty about himself because he gained it all back. Now he has probably a worse relationship with food. He's got those cool progress pictures, but he doesn't look like it anymore because he never learned how to keep it off. He just starved himself for 6 weeks, listened to a complete bozo that was just trying to feed the results to further his marketing and better his business. Because look at this professional transformation I made. Look how impressive this is. But you don't see how dog shit they feel on the inside. That's
why
one of my
the
least favorite
gastric
parts.
Bypass surgery, not the gastric bypass. That's why the sleeve surgery is not a magic solution, because it doesn't teach you how to remedy the lifestyle that got you to where you are. That's why we see such high recidivism rates after that procedure. It is not a magic solution. If you don't implement changes that complement a new lifestyle, you gain the weight back. That's what's important. The information that we give here gets you out of the cycle. That's why it's not popular. That's why the apps don't do it, because it's bad for business. I often say I'm bad for business. I want to be bad for business. There's never going to be not people that need us. Unfortunately, it's just the way that it operates. We can't reach everybody. I'm not going to get to 1% of my following ever. It's just not going to happen. So, give people the right information. Just do it. If anyone here is listening, it's obviously we're not having scam artists listening to us unless it's a hate listen. But if you're doing this, just know that we're going to take them from you, and we're going to save them, and you're not going to have them anymore.
We're going to dox you, and we're going to find where you live. Yeah, never mind.
I don't know who you are. I don't know what you want. If you're looking for ransom, I can assure you I don't have any money.
Yeah, no, that, hang on, there was a comment I wanted to address. I think it actually came from Erin. Yes, it was. Shout out Erin. She said, hey. I also notice a lot of coaches who post pictures where the client is clearly sucking in their stomach and posing differently in the after picture. Yeah, a lot of these motherfuckers just be straight up lying. I do not want to go off on a tangent, so really try to rein it in when I say this. Have you seen the Alex Jones meme?
Where he's red in the one picture?
Yes, but he looks the exact same 90 days later. We're not making any comments on anything else. It's just really fucking funny.
There's one picture. He's the same in both pictures, but in one picture, he's more red than
he's just
he
like
is in the other one.
Or some shit. But like physique-wise, he looks the exact same, and the lighting changed maybe a little. And that's what really makes me mad, because it's like, I can tell that coaches will tell their clients to push their stomachs out on their before pictures. Like, I can see it. Like, that's not a way a natural stomach sits. Like, I've seen enough progress pics. I know that you are forcing this and you are trying to make yourself look worse. I see influencers do it all the time. Like, there are some influencers that own up to it. Say, yeah, I made myself have a double chin and like push my thing back for my transformation photos and took a bunch of photos of me with my gut pushed out. So my transformation photos in 6 months when I'm done cutting look way better. Like, people have owned up to that. And I mean, it is what it is. If they're transparent about it, sure, it's going to be a little bit flashier for the video. But like, I don't like it. I don't like it. And also, lighting is crazy because you get the right lighting, you can look like, I mean, Jeff Nippard, Arnold Schwarzenegger. It's crazy. So sometimes they'll have the exact same physique, the exact same body composition. The lighting's just really fucking good. So it made him look better. But in reality, nothing's changed.
One of the lights went out in my gym locker room, and I lost at least 10% of my gains.
I've been I was going to try, so I like to pose in my business, or when I like take progress, like just check in on what we're looking like. I'll like to go into like the studio areas for like where the classes are and stuff, or like the big, like the dance studio looking rooms. Good lighting, natural lighting, really like it. I accidentally walked in full confidence, full chest, about to take my shirt off because it's usually empty and the lights were off. I walked into a hot yoga session, so I had to immediately, it was like and then just walked out immediately. So I'm like a little scared to pose now just because I feel like, what am I walking into? And I can't ever pose in my fucking locker room because I go to an old people gym and I'm not gonna, you can connect the dots. Old men locker rooms. It's not pretty.
I want that kind of brazen confidence to just be totally balls out and not
Dude, that's the
concerned
body
about
positivity
anything.
we need, man. Holy shit. They do not have any
They should be
shame.
leading the body
Holy
positivity
God.
movement.
Dude, the way these men, dude, okay, I don't care how out of pocket this is. I gotta tell you, you're not gonna fucking believe this shit, okay? Hang on, I gotta move my
I thought you were about to stand up and whip it out.
OnlyFans coming soon. So I walk in. I'm going to hit the sauna. I'm not trying to pose. I'm just trying to hit the sauna for some basic recovery. This happened about a year ago now. I'm walking in with my friend. I shit you not, I walked in, saw this, immediately just walked back out and went to my car. I'm like, fuck this. I am at capacity now. All right. So the door is about 10 feet further this way. Okay. There's a bench. You can see this blue bench. Yes. Okay. This guy wasn't even that old. This guy was probably in his 30s. He was not an old man. I also saw old man ass. So that's that. This brother, butt naked, not a single item of clothing on his body. I don't know if he was about to get into the shower or out of the shower. Booty butt naked.
Oh, no.
He's like this. And he's got the towel, and he's drying his ass like this. The door is right there. Full front, everything out. Just hanging. I literally, dude.
Oh, my God. Maybe that's the goal. Maybe that's what he wanted. He's like, I want this room to myself. I want to make sure that the circulation is getting everywhere.
He was just dominant on everybody else.
Trying to steam my gooch. Like,
Somebody
everything's
said
got to
they
be
want
good.
exclusive locker room content from us.
Exclusive locker room content.
Oh, boy.
Let's get some locker room talk.
Oh, man.
Start there. Just start saying some terrible things.
That one's gonna have to be audio only because the some of the stuff I've seen.
Next week on the Big Fellas podcast, we air out our balls in the hot sauna.
Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy. Okay. Now let's circle back. I'm done being wound up. I promise. Let's circle back. I do have another question from a YouTube comment that kind of ties into what we were talking about.
Perfect.
How about we finish off with that? So this is from Austin on YouTube on the latest episode of Failure, talking about failure. His comment was, what supplements are recommended for weight loss / overall health? If you've been watching us for a little while, you may or may not know how Mike and I feel about supplements. Now, but, big old but. Old man butt.
Good.
There is a lot to be said about the word supplement because it's a huge realm. Okay. There's a lot of different types achieving a lot of different things. There's the medication side, there is the prescription side, there is the purely cosmetic side, there is the dietary supplement side, and then there's also like the scam side. There's a big window or a big range in supplements. It's a very general concept, very general term. In general, assuming there are no health issues involved, you are somewhat normal, healthy person. You don't need anything. Will there be some that could help? Sure. But the current space of the fitness industry on TikTok specifically is designed to make you feel like you need supplements. It's designed to make you feel like supplements are a requirement. And Mike and I are here to promise you that it is not. That's a good clip right there.
I use these. This is one of my supplements right here. This mostly services bad breath.
That's pretty good. I just drank some coffee. I probably need one of those.
I do take one of these every day as just sort of nutritional insurance. That being said, a multivitamin with a bad diet is still a bad diet. It doesn't change anything. It's not going to fix anything. It's not going to make you healthier. This is just sort of to supplement the already nutritious diet that I have, to make sure that
Also,
I'm just rounding out the edges.
Right. Absolutely. And I will say there's a handful that I even struggle to call supplements, like protein powder. I struggle to call that a supplement, but it is, it's more in the line of food. But at the same time, I think it should be called a supplement because we don't want to rely on it. It is supplementation to a diet. It is not a diet.
Supplemental.
It is supplemental. So when people on like Nutrisystem doing meal replacement shakes, brother, man, you're telling me you're going to eat a powdered drink for lunch every day? How fun does that
and
sound?
Never poop again.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that. If you're just getting whey protein as your protein source, you're going to have some trouble with digestion. You're going to have trouble.
Start buying candles and incense because your house is about to smell really bad. The protein farts are heinous.
I take 30 grams of whey protein a day. That's the amount that I take. It's part of my diet. I don't take it because I can't get it anywhere else. I take it because I like it that way. The rest of my protein, because I'm getting about 180 grams right now, comes from other sources. So that's a very small amount of my daily protein. And it's delicious and I enjoy it. But to get it all from that would destroy me. Like anytime I have more than that, my body feels it.
Yeah, everybody's got kind of a different threshold for that. So I will say it is always nice to have some protein powder on hand for those days where you're a little bit low on your protein goal. Mike and I talk a lot about the effectiveness of having a protein goal and trying to just get more protein in general. It helps. But remember, it is a supplement. It is meant to supplement your diet. Outside of that, there's a couple other smaller ones. Creatine for the advanced lifters isn't terrible. Is it a big thing for weight loss? Not necessarily. That's more so to help you in the gym. Pre-workout, glorified energy drink, you can use it. There's some other compounds like beta alanine, stuff like that will make slight improvements to your lift as opposed to just pure caffeine. But at the end of the day, you're just taking the pre-workout for caffeine. So it's a little bit overhyped. People talk about stim versus non-stim. It doesn't really matter. It really doesn't really matter, And then outside of that, assuming you are a perfectly healthy person with no other underlying issues or effects, there's really nothing else that even is close to applicable. Those three are the only supplements that I really took during my journey, and I didn't need any of them, whatsoever, and I'd probably look damn near the same. So when you're thinking about where do you put your energy, where do you put your resources, where do you spend your money, supplements should be like number 15 on the list of your priorities. I think that's a pretty solid answer to the question, no?
That is.
Okay, let's open up to about 5 minutes of questions before I got a jet. How's that sound?
Let's do it. Yeah, let's go to the chat here.
I feel like we covered the identifications and the key things to question what's good and what's not for marketing wise and how to identify BS, don't you?
Yeah, we did some good stuff there.
Good. Is mass powder recommended for bulking / weight gain? Same thing to kind of what Mike said earlier. It can help. It's a good way to get liquid calories. I would say liquid calories in general are really super helpful for weight gain. So you're not going to be nearly as likely to stay full when you're drinking your calories. So that's something that Mike and I talk about when we're trying to lose weight. Try to avoid your liquid calories. when you're trying to gain weight, having something like a mass gainer or just a basic smoothie, you can throw peanut butter, you can throw other things in there that will allow you to add a bunch of extra calories into your daily diet without really feeling the effects of the fullness from it. So that's really good. Donna, I've seen you hop in here a couple times. You feel like you're gaining weight for no apparent reason. How do I join a program? So this is probably a good question to answer right now. Mike just closed the amount, or I need more applications for his one-on-ones right now. He and I are building out a group program to be released probably sometime in a month or two. I do have a handful of spots open, not that many. I have a few calls this week that might fill them out. But if you do want to work with one of us one-on-one, this is kind of speaking generally to everybody, there is an application link still live in my bio. If you want to fill that out, we can have a conversation. Mike may open it up again, but he's being a little bit more selective. We solve the same problem in different ways, and both of our focuses are definitely been shifting towards building out this group, but we're both at or very near capacity, and our also capacities are very, very different in the way we deliver things. So
I won't be open again for a couple more months. But
yeah,
that all being said, if you feel like you're gaining weight and you don't know what to do about it, you don't have to wait until you get into one of our sessions,
right,
or with one of us. You can start that now, and you don't have to make major changes to make that happen. Look at your current lifestyle. I don't know if you were losing weight before, you're just starting to get into like you want to start doing something. I mean, let's just start with protein. You're probably not getting enough protein. Most of you in this chat right now are not getting enough protein. If you can't tell me in honesty that you're getting 100 grams of protein today, you're probably not getting enough. If you haven't been able to account for it, if you are thinking to yourself, like, you know what, I probably haven't had enough protein, you probably haven't. Get some more. Start with that. You'll stay satiated. You'll stay full. It's got a good thermogenic effect, which just means that it takes your body more calories to burn it than other types of calories. And did I say that you'll stay fuller for longer? Because that's a major part of it too.
Mm-hmm.
We gain weight
Absolutely.
because we eat. So if you can stay full and you don't want to eat, you don't gain that weight. Can we work some more movement in? Can you just start getting like 15 minutes of movement? It doesn't have to be a lot. You don't have to sign up for the gym. Just move around a little bit.
Absolutely.
That's all.
It's really,
and then we can, fill in the rest of the details. But for now, those are things you can do today.
Absolutely.
Right now, without any help.
The only reason I responded the way I did was because I saw Donna ask that like 4 times in the chat throughout the stream, and I wanted to just kind of give people an avenue. We have some limited spots. I think I'm the only one with spots open right now. My coaching is longer term and a little bit more resource based, but I have, like I said, I've got a shit ton of clients right now, so I do not want that many more. But like Mike said, it's about starting with something small. For those of you that want to take this journey yourself, start with something small. And on top of that, ask yourself the really uncomfortable questions. The quality of your life is determined your ability to ask and answer the really difficult questions. So see, what could I be doing better? What am I doing that I didn't plan on doing? What mistakes am I making? And why do I want to do this? Ask yourself the hard questions and let yourself sit and chew on those answers for a little while. You'll get a lot more clarity than you think you would. It's actually mind-blowing if you know how to ask the right questions to yourself.
If you don't have a strong enough reason to do this that's just stronger than I want to see big number become small number, you're not going to do it. That's not me trying to discourage you. That's me trying to prepare you, because you will fall off. If this is anything around that, if it's not anything more than that, you need to figure out another reason for it. What is that reason? Ask yourself why. It's not about the number. You're going to see that number for 5 seconds. That's it. That's how long that number exists. Otherwise, you are a human being who is going to live on this planet as a human being in that body. What are you going to do with that body? How do you feel in that body? What social activities do you do? What physical activities do you do? What does your life look like? One of the things that I do in my coaching, I call it "Who Are You at the End?" because the idea is I want you to imagine the most mundane day of your life 2 years from now. Like you said in the very beginning of this episode, weight loss should be boring. If it gets too thrilling or it gets too attractive, you run the risk of crashing. So I want to help my clients understand, what does it look like when this is not exciting? What does it look like when we're not thinking about it? You and I don't think about it, or we don't worry about it. We think about it. We don't worry about it.
It
That's the
occupies
difference.
very small amounts of our headspace.
Yeah,
We do not
because
spend
it sits in
very
the
much
bag.
time. Yeah.
It's all automated. And we can make those decisions in real time, and they don't stress us out. And that's the real victory. The victory is not the weight loss. The victory is keeping it off. That's why I always introduce myself by saying I lost 110 pounds, because that's the fun Instagram-y part. But I'm most proud of keeping that weight off. A before and after of this year and last year is not really that impressive in terms of weight loss. If I just had a shirt on, it wouldn't be that impressive. I have put some muscle on, just a little, that much. But it's not the, big guy to small guy anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the part I'm most proud of, is just sitting there at the same weight. One of the things that drove me was I wanted to look at my pictures, because it'll tell you like Facebook memories or something. It'll show you a picture of you last year, or Snapchat memories, whatever it is for you. I wanted to see 2 years in a row where my face was the same shape. Where I didn't gain the weight, because I gain and lose in my face. It all goes to my face, everything. That's where all my loose skin is. That's why I have the beard, because I have no shape there. It's a mess. It's terrible. But I just wanted there to be 2 years where like I don't have to see fat face, skinny face, fat face, skinny face. So, that was one of my reasons. And then it eventually became, well, I feel good now. I feel good when I don't binge physically. So I want that to keep going. So that was one of my drivers. That's still to this day one of my drivers, is like, oh, I don't binge anymore. That's awesome, because now I don't feel like shit all the time. Also, it's 11:57.
Yeah. It's Kurt.
So,
If we go over a minute or two, he'll understand.
Yeah, screw Kurt. Shout out to Kurt.
We love you, Kurt.
What's going on, buddy? He's got a podcast too. It's called Plus Size Stories.
Yes, we're talking about me getting on there soon, which will be exciting.
Perfect.
I'm excited.
I did the season finale of season 1. So you can if you want to hear me on there as an introduction to our friend Kurt, you can go and listen to Plus Size Stories. It's on Spotify, Apple, all that stuff, and you can listen to any of the episodes. But I am on there.
We're everywhere. So, all right. You wanna drop the outro and do the thing?
Yeah. Well, you can find me at Mike Needs a Plan, and you can also download the free How to Be Kind to Yourself, the guide that grows with you guide at mikesplan.com. Now, this guide, just like you, is not finished, and it never will be. It will be updated as you are. So go to mikesplan.com, download it. It's free, always will be free, and it will always be changing and growing just as you should.
And I am at the biggest fella _ on everything. The podcast, this is episode 6 that we just recorded. That is on YouTube, on my YouTube channel. It's Big Fella Fitness on YouTube, or if you just look up The Big Fellas Podcast on YouTube, it should pop up. We might be going through a rebrand soon. We might be changing the name of the YouTube channel and everything, but the name of the podcast is going to stick. Keep an eye out. Like I said, we are building something really exciting for you guys, but for now, there's a lot of work that you can do now. There's a ton of work you can do yourself, exactly like Mike and I said today, but there is a link for one-on-one coaching in my bio, but also there's a link for the YouTube, there's a link for the coaching, but there's also a bunch of other free goodies. We have 300 low-calorie food swaps where I take 100 of the most common low or high calorie foods in America and give 3 lower calorie alternatives. I did the math and took an embarrassing amount of time on that. And I also have a 200 item grocery guide. So Mike's kindness guide, 300 low calorie food swaps, and the grocery guide. We are giving you a bunch of free shit. Take it, use it, and use that information to start this shit yourself. Like we said, we want you to be here, but we don't want you to need us. And that is the first step in taking initiative, starting somewhere. So with all that being said, thank you guys so much for listening. Hope you guys have a wonderful day. Go check out the other episodes. Keep it simple, big fella, and say the line.
Oh, be kind to yourself. I forgot my line.
Thank you.